children. Is there anybody in the club with expertise in radio control and or soldering and wiring? I'm getting into that next stage.
Interesting.
The motor works, but going beyond that, and I don't know if Osborne models is still in existence or not, because I can't find
Any
the.
soldering experts or RC guys?
Well, I know how to solder quite well, but I don't know. It's that's a whole art form in its own.
All right, so what's
kind
something else? Anybody else want to bring up their rough spot? Anybody hit the wall? No? Okay, my turn.
We're done.
Okay, so I got this.
This is all about him. They don't care.
Well, fuck it. If you don't try anything, what are you gonna? Okay, here's my problem, guys. So I'm building this kit. It's a plane, all right, but they set it up so you can transform it. I'm not worried about that. I want some kind of jig system, or I need some way to it's because it's really quite
For alignment?
Yeah, I need some solutions for aligning this thing so I can glue them into its place. So because it's sort of, I'm going to end up with issues, I think. Problems.
Excuse me,
Yes.
this room is bigger than our other facilities,
Yeah.
and the concrete walls feed. I don't know if I'm the only one with hearing.
Oh,
My
okay.
wife says I
Well,
have
should I speak
hearing
up louder?
problems.
No, just one conversation at
And
the same time.
selective hearing, so.
Justin. Shh.
if
Let's
people
listen.
keep the
Hold
noise
on.
Talk down and
Yes.
the speaker speak louder.
Okay. Okay, so the
That would
problem,
help.
we'll do that. The problem I'm bringing for the experts is an alignment issue. So I got this kit with a lot of fiddly parts, and like every part moves on it, but really I want to solidify it. I want to know how to, feel free to touch it or whatever. I need some method. Feel free to jump in there. I need some method. You can see how much falls apart.
Got a lot
on
going
it.
on there.
Is this
To
all
align.
attached?
More or less. But I don't
I'm
mind,
worried about the less.
I don't mind gluing it,
There we go.
but
I would suggest you
how
got
do you align everything?
start with a reference point, right?
Yeah.
And then work from there, building, either jigs or just measuring and gluing as
Okay,
you
so
go.
building jigs.
But you're gonna need,
How do you where to
well,
start?
like I say,
with that?
start with your reference point, right? And make sure at least something's square, like
Pick-
one
pick a
wing
surface.
and your fuselage are square, 9 degrees, or get the dihedral in there or whatever.
Okay.
And then
Interesting.
like, you need to mount the thing square.
Okay, what do you mount it? Like, what do I mount it to?
Well, you're gonna get to get some sheet styrene or
Oh,
some
okay.
wood, like popsicle sticks. I would recommend styrene.
Do
so
these
you can-
pop out? Are these just like press fitted, or are they?
There are certain pieces that might come, like polycap the joints that come loose, and then some of them just sort of, it's an older kit, so when you put it together, you sort of hinge everything, they hinge it all together, so you sort of assemble it in one go and it has moving parts in it.
The one thing I see when I look at this is that you've got seams all over the place that haven't been dealt with.
Yeah, I haven't done
And
anything sort of rough.
it's really, realistically, you should be working on the seams in a sub-assembly when there's not all this stuff attached to it. So you get this all cleaned up, you make yourself happy with the seams, leave that. You do these pods each individually. So right now, you got a seam down in the side here, you got seams here, seams along here. So in the process of sanding it, you've got to, like, where am I going to hold this that I don't break it so they
certain
can...
parts will. I
Did you
think,
just
will
rip
come
these
apart.
off the sprue? Is that what you did?
This is before he got his $15 cutter. He's got a nice cutter now, so we're not going to see any of this
I did
over
the
here.
assembly actually quite a long time
Okay.
ago.
You were drunk, right?
For like 20 years
But
ago.
Duncan's right.
Before
There's a
the-
lot of
before the
cleanup
club.
here before you
Yeah,
can get to your
tons.
alignment issue. But
It's kind of like painting yourself into a corner in
Yeah.
a room. If you can deal with it and not get yourself cornered in. So if you can do these seams when you don't have to worry about breaking a wing or snapping this off,
Yeah.
then all these sub-assemblies get nice and cleaned up, and then it's just a matter of tacking them all together. And then you can focus on the alignment, because not only you have alignment, you've got sanding you have to do. So in the process of sanding, if suddenly you twist something or bend something,
Oh, yeah.
you're starting all over again on your alignment
Yeah, I
as
was
a
thinking
result.
easier to like once it's sort of the sump assemblies that come apart, once they're glued and they're gonna come together in alignment, then I can work on the seam issues or just get a new kit. But I still got
There is that option.
I
you
still
know.
have the alignment.
It is a work in
issue,
it is a work in
right?
progress. But I think part of the thing is you're putting everything on and trying to get it lined up.
Mm-hmm.
Is start with the centerpiece. All right, let's get the wings on. Let's get the wings lined up, so they're all nice and plumb. Then I'm going to add whatever these things are on the like claws. or-
Pods.
Pods. But then you could add the pods and get those squared up to this. So you're building off, you know, your square line when you're building something. You pick one square and you build out from that square. So everything measures back to that corner. So decide this is what I want to get lined up first is along here. And once I have that lined up, I know that's my center and I want everything squared up to those wings. And then you're adding out, so everything's going to be lined up to your central piece, rather than I'm going to move this one up, I'm not going to move that down. Now I got to twist this one
Yeah,
up.
because the problem is there's so much movement to how to lock.
Now,
it
is this
down.
supposed to transform itself?
Yeah, it literally does.
So it is capable of transforming.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm just kind of.
I'm not going to do it because
subject.
I'd probably twist their limbs the wrong
do it.
way. You know,
On the
not
subject
having
of-
seen the movie.
of jigs, Anthony, like there's just a couple of, well, some general things, I guess, that should be
you like
considered
to,
or thought about.
Lolly on a stick.
For starters, I don't know how many people have basic layout tools in their
Please go on.
tool arsenal.
So me.
Well, a small square to start with.
Okay, yes.
Because
Like machinist square.
Is it builder square?
Yeah.
Little square.
yeah,
Machine square.
a protractor, like
I don't have that one.
okay. Because how else are you going to set up
Yeah.
angles and a decent scale?
Ooh, okay. Yeah. Protractor.
Now, another thing that I have for just doing alignment work is, and I use this for other things too, but a glass plate.
Okay.
Because you need to work off of some flat surface, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So, you know, you can go to London Glass and Mirror, any of those places. Again, the disclaimer, my wife works for Lee Valley, but Lee Valley sells a glass plate for laughing,
If
like
you
for
wanted to
sharpening stuff,
transform it, you
but
can get
it's
aligned.
thick and it's tempered,
And
so,
flat.
and that's the one I have. And there's a
Yeah.
adhesive pad
You figured
so
it
that
out.
it doesn't slip that you can buy and put on the bottom of it. Or the dollar store. Another thing to consider is what you're making your jig from. I heard wood. Well, wood's organic, so depending on what you're going to be doing with it, there's a possibility that if you're going to use that jig over time for different things, it may not always remain stable.
Yes.
Styrene is
Yes.
a good go-to,
Okay.
but you need to be cognizant of where, if you're going to do any glue ups on that jig, where the styrene
Turn to page
has to
3
be.
of the.
Okay. Okay, so probably styrene is the way to go. I can cut something out precisely and kind of build up something to sit on while it glues, and then I can recreate it for there.
Styrene's great because you don't have to worry.
Stable.
Like some guys build jigs out of wood and stuff, but you've got
Yeah.
warpage and
That's what I
lack
meant.
of
Yeah, it
control.
changes
Yeah,
changes with
styrene is very predictable and easy to work with.
Well, another one that is, depending on the type of cement you're using, ABS, plastic strut. You're familiar with
okay.
them? They make
Yeah.
sheets of ABS.
Hard
that-
to cut.
Hey,
Stick
it
with
is hard to
styrene.
cut and stuff, but
Stick with styrene.
it isn't affected by, like, if I think most people are using like Tamaya liquid cement. It doesn't really touch that.
Well, and the other thing too is it's just from a yes, ABS does have superior properties in certain areas, but the reality is if you want to start using evergreen you know, that's all styrene. So stick with styrene. It gives you
Yeah.
a multitude of shapes that you can use,
You can get
and
everything.
it's a known quantity. So styrene, like the evergreen and the sheet stock, it'll all you know, be treated the same way with the glue. Whereas ABS, it's kind of you need that really powerful
Yeah, the stuff that evaporates as soon as you
Pro
open the
Will.
bottle.
Yeah.
MEK.
Yes.
All right. Thanks, guys. Is anyone else brought a kit that they want to get some advice on or have the panel look at? Right.
Before I walk out there, bring toggle the curve windshield, and I need something heavier than like a report cover.
K&S Engineering.
Sorry.
K&S Engineering, they make brass and stuff. I think that's what most people are familiar with. But they also make a clear plastic, and it's not styrene. The reason that I kind of homed in on it is if you're gonna do vacuum forming, this stuff vacuum forms really well. Styrene, clear styrene is a bit of a bear.
Shrinkage and
Yeah.
all kinds of
Yeah.
other issues.
And it, I have used the 10 thou, but I do believe it comes in 15, 20, and it might even go up to 30 thou.
Is there a reason you want to like? Did you break it or you just don't like it?
Actually, I got a resin kit here at 78 pounds. And
Would you mind bringing it up just so we can put it on the big screen there? Thanks. I'm not the only one that suffer.
You invited
pain,
us.
no gain. Yeah, okay, here, we'll slide this out of the way. We'll put it.
So it didn't come with this?
Didn't come with that. Yeah.
Nice.
So,
It's fairly flat, which is nice.
yeah, it's just the front windshield is the hardest part. I made an aluminum buck for the windshield to try and do a form on it, but I have no experience in that. So, I just
You're probably going to find that the plastic is the trickiest thing. Do you
Yeah.
have a vacuum form?
No, I got nothing like that. Never done it.
And so, guys, just to reiterate, the question is you want to basically create your own vacuum form or whatever method windshield.
Yep. Sort of, I guess.
Yep.
Whatever, something stronger than report plastic. Like report
That
cover
plastic,
plastic.
I recommend it.
Yeah. Okay. So, how easy would it be to say form it by hand? Would it hold a? If you just kind of bent it, or?
Oh, I don't know that
I think
advise
you'd
it.
have a challenge because it's not only is it curved this way, it's also curved this way. So it's not
Yeah.
you can just bend it this way. Forgive my ignorance. The vehicle is it a what is it like?
78 Malibu.
Malibu. So the other option you can look at is you could find an inexpensive contemporary car kit like that might have a similar windshield and use that and cut it down to size to fit into there. So you've already got it starting to do the curve. So if there's a similar Malibu or some Chevy product,
Cutlass or something.
yeah, something that might work, like you might be able to do it that way. Because if you're going to vacuum form it, you really need to make a master beforehand. So you'd need to carve something out of wood, or it'd have to be very smooth because
Like I said, I made
But you do have an aluminum block
yeah,
for it.
Yeah, and it's form fitted in there. It's just I couldn't make the plastic work.
so it's
without-
solid aluminum.
Yeah, it's made out of a license plate.
Oh, okay.
So-
And it fits perfectly
Yep.
in there.
Yep.
Because you could, if that's the case, then even if you don't have a vacuum form machine, I think even if you lay clear plastic on top of metal, especially,
Just
it's
warm
going
it
to
up.
drape itself
Yeah,
over.
try, they curled up.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you need
Oh.
to brace it around the perimeter,
Yeah.
Okay.
like in plug forming.
If he's got the block, he can get it on the right angle. Squadron makes clear plastic for crash forming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's that.
Yep.
So basically, what you do is you take the clear piece and put it in a frame so it holds it. Put it in the oven to heat it up, and then you take it out and you just literally
Okay.
smash over top it. So you get it so it goes straight down on it, and it will take the shape of the metal underneath, and that holds the plastic out. So when it heats up, it even though it wants to pull in, it makes the whole center very soft, so it'll go down.
Just trim to fit.
One of those vice grips for, they got the long skinny blades on.
Yeah.
I have
Duck
a pair
bells.
of those, clip on each end. What I did with mine, it was very similar to that. I borrowed some the stove, and I had it set up on a place that I had clamped to the countertop, and I just went over the stove element until it started to sag, went over it. Went down one time.
That's a good idea. Okay.
There's many articles online about
Yeah.
plug forming and crash forming and vacuum forming.
And if you want to
Yeah.
practice, do it in like regular styrene a couple times just to see how it goes on. If you don't have a lot of clear plastic,
Yeah.
you only got 1 or 2 shots at it.
Yeah.
Practice with like white styrene just to see if you can get it to go down and get a nice shape out of it.
Plus, it'll show if there's any imperfections in it as well.
Because that's the thing with
Right.
clear is it'll show up all the scratches underneath because it'll
Or
heat, it'll,
dust
Yes,
whatever's in there.
slightest undulation or anything like that. Yeah.
Great. Cool.
Awesome, good
Best
question.
luck.
Nice, thanks.
Good luck.
Anyone else have something in that you were stuck on? No? Well, we picked the right judges, that's for sure.
I have a question. I watched a lovely review of the Nutmaya anti-static brush for cleaning models on the weekend. And the guy was saying it's lovely but expensive. How do you guys keep your models dust free? Like, where do you store them and how do you clean them?
Oh, I guess that's me. I just have a normal, larger paintbrush, a softer paintbrush that I use to carefully dust it off. I think it's wonderful you can get an anti-static paintbrush from Tamiya. I'm sure it comes with a nice anti-static price with it as well, you know. But I use that to dust my models. I also find if you're very careful about it, soap and water will do a good job cleaning the model up. And you know, you don't turn your tap on full blast on it. But I have a small sort of stubbing, you know, craft brush that I use to clean my models. Every time I prime it, I will clean the model beforehand. So it gets rid of the oils, it gets rid of the dust that might get in your panel lines and that, and gives a nice clean surface. So when you put the primer on, the primer sticks and reduces the chance that later on, if you're masking something, you lay down a piece of tape over it, and when you pull the tape up, you pull right down to bare plastic, which you don't want to have happen. But by using just a little dishwashing soap and just carefully sort of scrubbing in areas and then washing it off, just dripping the tap on it, you get a clean model.
Also got another idea. I acquire my wife's old makeup brushes. They're big brushes, but they're really soft. They work just as good.
Make sure they're nice and clean though before you start. Gussie the model up for Saturday night.
Going downtown.
But yeah, it's just to me a simple brush that's fluffy and soft, for lack of a better word, is good for cleaning off excess dust. And I have a display case that I keep them in, or in boxes. I've got too many to put in display cases. So
I usually just cut up a piece of Swiffer on my brush.
As long as you don't catch it with color or
Yeah, yeah, appropriate. Yeah, it works.
I would stay away from Swiffer myself.
Oh, I don't do one, honey.
All right. Well, okay. Anyone else?
But anyways,
Up
there's
against
probably better
something?
things to spend your money on than that tool, I would think.
Their paint stir sticks are a nice investment at $8. If you don't want to use a coat hanger like I do.
Okay, well, it sounds like everyone is doing really well on their projects and no one's hitting any walls, so that's amazing to hear. Let's thank our judges for coming up here and offering their expertise, or their our experts, our panel experts. Thank you, appreciate it.
Say it with cash.
I got one question.
Oh yeah, go.
When you're back forming,
Yeah.
what kind, and you're building your bucket, what kind of?
What
use the word
material do I
injection molding.
use?
I'm thinking about shrink rate. Do you get much shrinkage when you, how much shrinkage are you getting from the styrene once you heat it up?
It kind of depends because I would say the most critical factor is the amount of draw, like how deep the pattern is, right?
And how thick a material you're using
To start with.
Yeah.
And also how the material kind of flows. I mean, just to exaggerate, if you have a square like a cube,
Yeah.
and it's all sharp corners, and you bring the plastic down over it and then hit the vacuum to draw it around, the material doesn't flow as nicely because it's got sharp corners,
It'll
right?
bunch up at the corners
Right.
and possibly tear.
So,
most likely tear.
all of those things will have a bearing on what basically what the finished thickness of the piece that you've vacuum formed will be.
I've always wanted to do a 1/32nd scale plumb, but nobody makes it. So I've been searching the internet looking for drawings.
Right, Fisher models.